there will always be most potential in Sweden. It is the biggest market, so there is much more to buy. What I do see is that there's a yield compression going on, and it started in the CBD areas, and it's now going by asset class, and it's going further away from the city centers, and that's what we experience at least. So it should be, I would say, the value add play. I think that vehicle that Catella is setting up right now is very interesting. And I think setting something up that is focusing on a volume type of transaction that is different to what we see international large investors going for is very interesting, because the yields are also different there. So you get a totally different strategy and much more the possibility to actually outperform the market. I think that is a very, Andrew, very interesting. It looks very, very interesting, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come to the other markets as well, and as I said, to Germany. I have, and I will always have, as a Dane, of course, a heart for Denmark. But the thing is, what you see in the entire Nordic region is a demographic growth, as Marcelo said, and you see also that our living threshold is increasing. So basically, what you're seeing is a lot of people moving into the cities. You're seeing a demand for residential that you haven't seen before. And when you have a residential demand, also offices and everything else is following along. Personally, I think right now you do not get any lower interests than what you're getting in Denmark at the moment. So if you are into a high leverage of LTV, you can go up to 60% in commercial in Denmark and 80% in residential. And basically you're getting some very, very interesting interest rates that you won't see anywhere else. So if you buy a little bit, you know, on B locations, you can actually get a very, very interesting performance of your properties and your investments.
And on top of that, sorry to interrupt, you will have the very long commitments from the mortgage banks, a 10 to 20 year commitment up to 30 years on the residential, and that is a feature that you don't see anywhere else in Europe, I think.
All you're renegotiating is the interest rate at a given time, whatever, but you have your financing for 30 years, which is amazing. I think Norway is going to be very interesting. I would be a little bit scared about residential in Norway because it's so expensive, but I would start looking outside of the city center. But there's still, of Oslo, there's still a lot to be done in the city center. There's some high street opportunities up there. There's a company that is really looking into high street and redeveloping the high street area. You have the strongest consumer Kaufkraft, purchasing power, in Norway. Here we go, I have to speak too much German. You have the strongest purchasing power. But what's interesting is Louis Vuitton just started up there. But you still don't have the Gucci's, all the others. But it's actually the country in the world buying most luxury goods. And it's best and the cheapest place to buy it. But there are none of them. So that's starting, and it's very interesting. I think that's going to change the retail market, the retail area of Oslo. There is a development of the harbors in general, both in Stockholm, in Copenhagen, in Helsinki, and in Oslo, where you are creating new CBD areas with high-quality office buildings where people are moving out. And then you have the old office buildings standing. Please remember, and I hate to say this in Germany, but we were not hit as hard as many other big cities during the Second World War. So we have a lot of old properties in our city centers. And that's why we actually have offices that are not functioning so well. It would be better to reconvert them into residential. So that's a value add play going on, and then you sell off the residential afterwards on the market, which has a very high level of square meter prices. So if you're asking me who's going to outperform whom, it has to do with what strategy are you going in with. I hate to pick a country. I really would hate to pick a country, especially because I have 4 hats on, so I'm not going to do it.